Welcome to our first class online. We thank God you are all well. We start from where we left, and today we discuss the topic, the shareholders. And shareholders are the owners of the company. Shareholders are either minority or majority shareholders. And the shareholders, who are the owners of the company, have certain rights. Rights of a shareholder. One of the rights is the right to attend and vote at general and special meetings of the company. Shareholders have that right. The other right is to remove a director from office. Yeah, you have the right to remove any director from office. Of course, there are rules of how that can be done. It is also important for you to understand that sometimes and in some instances, majority voting power has been used to oppress minority rights. And therefore, we want to talk about the majority rule, oppression, and mismanagement. What is majority rule? Now, the principle of rule by majority is supreme in management of companies. Okay? Members of a company pass resolutions by either simple or special majority. And it is important for you to note, as students, that once a resolution has been passed by required majority, it is binding on all members, including those that voted against it. That is why you have heard people say that the majority have their way, the minority have their say. So whatever the majority passes, any resolution they pass, whether simple or special majority, then it is binding on all members, including those that voted against it. Yeah? Now, what is oppression? Oppression is any unjust behavior of one person or persons towards other person or persons that is inflicted continuously and is continuing till a petition is made by the oppressed persons. So sometimes there can be oppression in an organization, and the majority can oppress the minority. Let's give a few examples of oppressive acts to enable you understand this subject. One of the examples of oppressive acts is when there is allotment of company shares in a manner that reduces the majority shareholders to minority ones. Yeah? Another example is when you transfer shares held by a company to a few shareholders without giving similar opportunity to other shareholders. I'm sure you know a few examples of such kind of things that have happened in some organizations in Kenya. Another example of oppressive act is when you allot shares in a manner that reduces present majority group of shareholders to a minority group. Yeah, and people do that. Another example of an oppressive act is when there is deliberate inaction or delay in registering the transfer of shares for fear of losing control of a company's management. So sometimes people will delay, they'll do nothing because they fear to lose control. Another example is when you deprive a member the opportunity to attend meetings or vote in the meetings. You have had scenarios where people are hijacked at night before voting, others are, put in. You're depriving the member the opportunity to attend a meeting or vote in a meeting. That is oppression. In a nutshell, oppression means premeditated violation of conditions of fair play. Yeah? When you premeditate to violate fair play, then you are oppressing other members. Let us look at prevention of mismanagement. We know that many times, due to poor corporate governance, organizations have been mismanaged. What is the meaning of mismanagement? Now, mismanagement is an act of executive directors and other senior managers of an organization that causes serious financial prejudice to the company. Key things there. It is an act, and that act is by either executive directors or senior managers, and that act causes serious financial prejudice to the company. What are examples of mismanagement in companies? One of the examples is infighting among directors. When there's a lot of infighting among directors, and especially in family businesses, that is mismanagement. When there's continued illegality of board of directors, yeah, that is mismanagement. When there's a sale of company assets against all sense of rationality, that is mismanagement. There are senior managers, there are directors who sell company assets, even when they know they should not be selling them. That is mismanagement. Or when you divert company funds for benefit of majority group or for unknown or unwarranted purpose. Yeah? And we know that happens a lot in Kenya, where you find senior managers or directors are diverting funds to their own accounts, or they are using the company assets for their own good. You find a scenario where a simple person, is given a company car when the manager does not have. Or even when you use, for instance, the company car for your own things, that is mismanagement. Or when you permit unauthorized persons to operate a company's bank or credit account, you are mismanaging the organization. Another example is when there is laxity in recovery of embezzled funds. Yeah, guys have stolen, and you know that my students, that especially in Kenya there's a lot of corruption. Recently, you have heard NTV talk about COVID millionaires. Huh? People are embezzling funds in organizations, in government, because of lack of corporate governance. And when management is lax in recovering those funds, then they are mismanaging the organization. Or when there is reckless disbursement of loans, which makes it the recovery of that particular loan, whether principal or interest, very difficult or impossible. Yeah, you've heard, even in this nation or elsewhere, where people are given loans, and after they have the loans, they can't be recovered. It becomes a bad debt forever. That is mismanagement. Or when you sell company assets at a low price and without compliance with the relevant registration, there are people who will just put on, who will sell the company assets. They don't care the price. That is mismanagement. Another example is when you act in violation of statutory provisions and articles of the company. For example, when you do meetings without proper notice, when you transfer shares without offering them to existing shareholders, or even some or move or shift their company office to a higher rentals so that they can get a cut. Cutting deals means management. Okay? Or where you violate conditions of the company's memorandum by key officials. Yeah? All those are examples of mismanagement. So it is important that we understand that corporate governance is very important, because corporate governance will help you avoid oppression. It will help you avoid mismanaging an organization. Yeah, and it is important for you to have examples that are real, and they are there. And they are all over in this nation where corporate governance has not been well, applied. And I encourage you to check a video where I've interviewed Professor Naituri, on corporate governance matters and how, institutions are mismanaging, how managers are mismanaging institutions because of lack of governance. That is our first class online, my students. You'll find a few questions in the learning portal, which I expect you to answer and which I'll mark. Thank you very much. We meet next week for our second class. God bless you.